listening to Prime Stars. Prime Stars. Prime Stars. Prime Stars. Now you listening to Prime Stars. Prime Stars.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Deal. This week, Tia is out, so I'm going to be your host. I'm not sure if you watch live playlisting, but my name is Cami Tab, and I am an A&R at BeatStars. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This week, we have Beats and Neff Beats. Thank you guys so much for joining today.
You're welcome.
Before, I think Neff is frozen.
How about now?
You're good now.
Okay. I don't know what happened.
It's okay. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. We're excited to have you guys on today.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Before we get started, I do have a weekly memo. So this week we are back with a new episode of the Inside Track, a beat breakdown series featuring some of the biggest hits to come out of the BeatStars community. Producers go in depth to show the blueprint to making a hit. Learn how Chris Rich made the beat for Soar by Yawtog, Stormzy, and Kwesi Arthur. The episode is available on YouTube at BeatStars, so make sure you guys check that out. And this Friday, join some of the most well-respected Sony Music Publishing A&Rs worldwide as they listen to your music and give you their expert opinions. Submit your sound for a chance to have your track heard on the show live at www.beatstars.com/opportunities. So make sure you guys tap into both of those. Really dope show, really dope opportunity. Great chance for a learning experience and to get your beats heard. So with that, let's get started. All right. So where are you guys both located right now?
I'm in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. That's the Washington, D.C. area, PG County.
All right. Dope.
So I'm
Ooh, he keeps cutting out.
Yeah, I didn't hear him either.
Yeah, I don't know. He keeps cutting out. I guess
there he
is.
is.
Cut out. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I'm good. Should I leave and come back?
If you want. I think you're good now.
Okay.
Yeah.
My signal's good. I don't know what's going on. So you can hear me now?
Yeah. Oh shit, he keeps freezing. Here. Once he unfreezes, we'll tell him to.
Sometimes if you have multiple applications open, the memory will go out. So So
I'll come back. All
right, sounds good.
Okay.
While we're waiting for him, do you want to tell us a few facts about you, some notable achievements in your career?
Sure, great. Well, first and foremost, I'm a graduate of Howard University, HU, you know. I am in my 40s. I won't say an exact age. I don't want anybody to ID me, you know. And, I'm actually grew up in the Midwest, and I made my way to the Eastern region over the years after Howard. But I've moved around a lot as well. So that's pretty much me. I have a creative spirit. That's kind of how I got into beat making and production, and I just love every aspect of it.
That's awesome. Where in the Midwest did you grow up?
Actually, Ohio, the birthplace of aviation, Dayton, Ohio.
Oh,
but
awesome.
I was born in California.
Okay.
So that's another interesting story. My dad was working on this postdoc at UC Berkeley around the time I was born. So
awesome. So in terms of producing, what do you think has been your most notable achievement so far? If you want to name a couple.
Okay, great. I think my very first artist that I worked with, his name was Khalif. And, back when I first started working with him, I wanted to make sure I did everything right. The beats were on point. No stone was left unturned. I think that was a huge accomplishment. As a matter of fact, and that was, for that being the first, it was the EP release. For that being the EP release, we churned it out in less than 2 weeks. So we were able to get something, and this was all done remotely. I never had to interact with him directly, but he's very professional and knowledgeable about the production process as well, in addition to being a hip hop artist. So it was very seamless.
That's awesome. How did you guys get connected? Like, how did that come together?
It was online, one of those sites. It might have been let's see if I remember correctly. I think I was just shooting messages to different people on another platform. It could have been Vamper or Fiverr. I'm not quite sure which one. It was one of those sites.
Okay. Dope. Yeah. I think networking it's just such a huge part of this industry. So I'm always interested to hear how people connect, how producers connect with artists, vice versa. Yeah, so Neff, now time for you. Did you get your connection sorted? Think we're good now?
Hopefully I closed a bunch of applications, stuff like
All right.
that. So, I mean, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Any hiccups
we're
yet?
good now. Mhm.
Okay. That I'm sorry about that.
No worries at all. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, some notable achievements in your career. If you want to name a few, tell us how you got started in music, all that.
Okay, cool. And I don't know if anyone caught before, but you know, I said I was based in Brooklyn right now. I've been out here for about 4 years. I grew up in Kittery, Maine, super small, like seaport lobster town in New England. So you know, I lived in Maine, New Hampshire for a while, about an hour outside of Boston. And then when I saw myself, you know, like looking in the future, being like, oh man, I'm gonna be that like that local hero dude. I don't want that. And then I, you know, I made that decision to move to New York and, you know, to take it to the next level. I wanted to be around people that, you know, were, you know, be like literally be around people. I like doing stuff over the internet, but for me, I'm super hands-on and I needed that creativity. So yeah, been out here about 4 years. Within a couple months, you know, I hit the ground running. But within a couple months, I met up with Static Selecta, shout out Static Selecta, and Terminology. And I just kind of like, to be honest, at first I was just like seeing where they would pop up, and then they would like tell me different events that was going on. And then over time, you know, we created a friendship, and then they took me under their wing. You know, I'm super blessed to have that. Just, you know, like big brothers, pretty much. You know, hey.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't do this, do that. Hey, you know, this is a better move to do this. And really, like for me, it was the first year being out here, I was really quiet. And then the second year, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get out of my shell because I just was observing. I wanted to see what people were doing, how they handled themselves. And then I networked the second year. The third year, I started putting music out. And you know, one of my first like placements, I had put music out before, but one of my first placements was with, my friend Terminology. And it was like, all right, Neff, it's game time. Let's do this. And I got 3 joints on his album Vintage Horns, and some of my favorite beats I've ever produced, to be honest. And then throughout that, like being in the studio with them every day, like I started getting engineering credits, on Chill Static, on a few different albums they put out. So that was like one of the first things I was excited about was, my name's in the credits on a vinyl. Like mind blown. It just popped up on my memories from like 2 years ago. I was at Shade 45 doing the intern thing, and it's term. He like made sure that he had all the rings on and stuff in the picture and pointed to my name. And I was just like, whoa, I'm really doing this. Like, I'm really doing this, man.
Yeah.
And, it just kind of took off. Right now, I'm in the middle of, putting out the biggest piece of work that I think that I've done so far. It's my solo debut album. It's hopefully going to be dropping on the 26th. That's what I'm shooting for. And this is actually the first time I publicly said that. It's been just kind of like hinting here and there.
Once you drop it, you got to say it again. You got to plug yourself.
Yeah. So Tabula Rasa is the album name. So for me, I've been sober for 12 years. Thank you. I had a pretty crazy history as a youth, and I found a new path. So that Tabula Rasa, technically means in Latin a scraped tablet. So for me, that's what I got. I got a scraped tablet. I got a clean slate, a new life. And that comes from being sober. That also comes from moving to New York, reinventing myself, rebranding myself. So, I dropped the single with Rome Streets and Tech a couple weeks ago. I just dropped a track with Raz Kaz, solo joint with Raz Kaz I produced the other day. And then this Friday, Lil Fame from MOP and Terminology is gonna drop. So really excited about that. Be dropping the track list pretty soon. So like right now, you asked like what is my biggest highlights? Like for me, like I mentioned the Terminology joints. You know, that will always be like right here. Those are huge. And the credits and things like that. But like I try to be so present. Like people would be like, what's the best beat that you made? What's the best beats? I'll tell them the newest beats I just made because I can't live in the past. And if I say, oh yeah, these ones before, then for me, I'm never gonna make a beat better than that because I'm always gonna be living in the past. So right now I'm moving forward, and you know I can't wait. I'm not gonna tell you all the people on it, but there's some heavy hitters, a lot of idols, a lot of people I look up to and can now call friends. So I'm really excited about that. I might have rambled. Hopefully I answered all your questions.
Okay.
I do that.
I just have one more question about that. So is your album, is it strictly instrumental or are you going to have some artists on it?
No. All right. So I have 33 artists on it.
Damn.
Yeah. So
That's
this
a lineup.
Yeah. So like I said, the first track was Glory Part 2 with Rome Streets and Tech. Then the second track was just me and Razkaz. Then this one, I don't know if anyone, if you two are familiar with Physiology, where it was Lil Fame from MOP and Terminology. So I got to pretty much be able to do a Physiology joint, which I was excited about that. And shout out to Lil Fame. He's the one that, like, I knew I was going to be doing this, but I was kind of like waiting in the cut. Like, when am I going to do this? I got like other work to do before I should drop this and start working on it. And then it was like a whole show off crew, MOP. And we were at a Q-tip party, like on a rooftop in Times Square. And like, that should paint the picture. Like, it was like the night was out of a movie. It was crazy. Huge disco balls, people dancing from, the ceiling and stuff. And Fame was like, he knew how to start working on stuff. And he was like, yo, bro, what you working on? I want to get on something. And I told him the collab joints that I was working on with Ren Thomas and Dirty Sanchez and this and that. And he was like, nah. He like pointed, like hit me in the chest. He's like, nah, bro, what are you working on? And I was like, an album. Completely like, it was like, then and there, I was like, he said it, I'm doing it now. So that was really the start of it. So, now it's, 17 joints. It's almost an hour long, 33 artists, fully stacked.
Awesome.
That's what's
up. Congratulations on that.
I'm
excited for it to come out and hear everything you're working on. Have you guys met each other? Are you familiar with each other from BeatStars?
So this is funny. We DM'd recently, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we had there was a dude I knew from way back in the day, and I seen Fury post something and tag him, and I was like, what? How is this? And so we just started talking, and then all of a sudden, this whole the rollout happened, and we're in an email together. So it's kind of some synchro stuff.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I was just curious about that. I was like, they really might not even know each other. Yeah. So, I guess my next question would be, and Fury, you can go first. Who have been your biggest influences coming up? Who made you want to get into music? Whether it's a family member, an artist, or all of that. Who influenced you to be where you are now?
Well, I was a hip hop head ever since elementary school, ever since fourth grade, ever since I really got knowledgeable of it. So 83, 84, when the Fat Boys and Run DMC and all of them were out. Houdini, of course. Biggest influence are probably from the 90s and the 200s. I would say Tribe Called Quest, Havoc from Mobb Deep, Swiss Beats, DJ Premier, just to name a few, just to throw a few out there. So I know growing up in the Midwest, you'd think we were so landlocked that there wasn't a lot of going on, but we always had access to cable, of course. So we had videos, but just growing up there, those were the main influencers.
Awesome. Yeah, Swizz just came out with a new thing with Timbaland, the Versus game or something. I don't know. I haven't checked it out yet. So
okay.
Yeah.
What? Wait, you haven't watched any of the verses yet?
No, I haven't checked out like their new app or something that they're doing.
Oh, okay. I thought like you meant you hadn't watched any of the verses. I was
No,
like,
I've seen those. No, I've seen those.
okay.
What about you, Nev? Who are some of your influences growing up and getting into this industry?
So yeah, like I mean, it's funny. The first influence I want to just say is like my father. It has nothing to do with hip hop, but like he influenced me. He's like a world-renowned classical oil painter. He's an American impressionist, and he actually the cover for the album is a portrait of me by my father. But like growing up watching him, like that was our sole income, was him selling paintings. So like as a child, I knew like even if there was a struggle, you could do this, you could do anything you wanted, and arts is a full time. But then like, for me, like I wasn't into hip hop super early. Like, the town I grew up in, like it just wasn't a big thing. And then I found it later on when I started working in kitchens. And like when I'm 30, so like around that time, what was popular was like the super nerdy hip hop. It was like C Ray's Walls was popping, like A$AP Rock was popping, LP was El Producto, like it was a Cage was still popping. But then like the place I worked, when we cleaned the restaurant, every day we listened to Ready to Die. So it was like a little mixture of both. And then I was like, yo, I gotta hear everything. And but like when it comes to productions and like my influences, it's like if you listen to, my beats, you would probably just say the same thing I'm saying. But it's like, DJ Premier, Alchemist, Madlib, J Dilla, the RZA, the Static Selector, Swiss Beats, you know what I mean? But those are definitely always in the back of my head. And I don't know, like for me, I was just saying the other day, the Freddie Gibbs and Madlib joint, Pinata. Listen to that anytime I like hit like not writer's block obviously, but anytime I like feel like I have to get inspired, I listen to that on the way to the studio, and I'm like, let's go when I'm done. So yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. I always think it's interesting to see, because everyone has a different reason why they start getting into the music industry, whether it just being an artist, a person, how you grew up, what you grew up around. So that's definitely interesting to hear. My next question, have you guys had any difficulty getting traction to your music? And when that was happening, how did you overcome it? What did it look like during that time?
Okay, I'll go first. Well, I know a lot of it is how you market and promote it, your team. I don't really have a team, so it's been very difficult for me to get, extra traction, meaning like 1 million views. I mean, you can easily buy 1 million views here and there. There's people who will, promote your stuff, if you drop the loot. But I haven't done that yet. I think I rely mostly on the artists I work with. And I haven't really worked with any big names. It's mostly up and comers or people who have kind of plateaued. So I'm always looking on the forefront of, who I should work with next, what would be strategic, So that's kind of the next phase for me.
Okay. What about you, Neff?
I mean, yeah, I feel like everybody has got to say, yeah. It's hard. It's hard, like finding your groove. It's hard figuring out like your lane and stuff. I know for me, like moving to New York and finding a team. Like you said, you don't have a team. You do it all with yourself, and it's like. Me finding a team I was super blessed. And it's not like, oh man, I rely on these guys to like do this and do that for me. But it's like, I learn and get pushed by each other. You know what I mean? I'm not the one like people say like, oh, you don't get anything unless you ask. Every once in a while, I'll ask someone that's close to me. But like for the most part, it's like you gotta always be self-reliant and like attract, not promote. Like if someone sees that you're doing the right thing and you're making the right moves and you're hot right now, they're gonna do something. You know what I mean? But yeah, like even still, it's always difficult to figure out what you're doing, especially like when I first moved here. Did I make the right decision? Like right in the beginning, I was so lost. I was going on Google every night trying to find events, and like the events were not it. And then when I finally linked with Static, he was like, bro, that's not how you find events in New York. He's like, you got to know somebody. And yeah, I realized all the events we went to were never like blasted online. You know what I mean? But yeah, especially like being back home, I was trying to do my own thing, and I guess I could say I had a bunch of yes men around me or whatever. And I definitely do not anymore. Like, I came out to New York and I thought my beats were dope. And not saying that they weren't dope. In my head they were, but I got out here and I had to get way better really fast. And that's exactly what I did. I focused on my craft and I became super humble. And just became very humble and genuine. And to be honest, that's like the biggest thing that's helped me, is to be humble, authentic, and just be as good as I possibly can.
Yeah, I think a lot of someone's work ethic really comes from your surroundings. Some people need to be out in a field in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by nothing, and some people really need the fast life to push them. And all that, even this interview is not about me, but just to relate to you, Neff. Like when I moved to LA, I realized I'm working a lot harder because you're surrounded by people who are constantly moving. Everything there is always moving. Everyone is always grinding, trying to get to the next level. But then some people just need to be alone, like by themselves. I know a lot of songwriters who just need to be in the mountains or in a cabin or something like that, because that's where they make the best music. It really just depends on who you are and what pushes you to work harder. So yeah, I think I completely understand that with how everything changed when you moved to New York. But my next question is for both of you. What advice would you give to a producer who is kind of losing traction, things are moving slowly for them, and they're kind of down on themselves right now?
Sure. You go first every time.
I've been going first for the whole time.
Okay, well, no, so my bad. So there was this comment. I saw a comment. It was kind of bothering me, so I wasn't paying full attention. What was the question again?
Just what would your advice be to a producer who's kind of losing traction right now? Things aren't moving that fast. He's not seeing a lot of success.
Yeah, I mean, that's just realize that that's going to be now. And it's gonna always be there. Like people don't talk about it enough. Like self-doubt as an artist, as a producer, anything is there, and you're gonna have that. It's a matter of what you do with that. I was in a self-developed seminar a long time ago. I've done a lot of work on myself through stuff like that, through AA, self-development, and that's a big thing too. Is like, if you're in this industry, I would definitely do as much self-development as you can, because you need to be strong. You need to be stronger than the average person, because it's hard. So like, just know that it's there. My biggest question in that seminar was, how do I become fearless? How do I get rid of fear? And pretty much what was said to me was that doesn't exist. I don't care who you are. Fearless is not real. It's what you do with that fear. So when you have that fear, do you curl up in the fetal position? Do you stop making beats? What do you do with it? Or do you just embrace it and keep going? Or do you use it as a motivation? Like, so with me, like, when I started getting into like bigger situations, I get the butterflies really easily. Just as a human, I do. So what I started doing was, when I started getting that, I would say, I'm not nervous. I'm excited and happy. Because really, that's what it is. You're nervous about something that's really great. So it's like, you know, sometimes you just have to change the context. If you're scared and you're down on yourself, you have to keep going. Maybe you have to step back and you have to look at it in a different perspective. You have to write it down on a notepad, and whatever you have to do, but don't stop. Don't think, oh, woe is me, I'm the only one going through this, because you're not. We all are. People that are way, way, way up there making millions of dollars, they have doubt. They have everything, because we're all humans, and this is what we're given through experiences in our lives. So you just got to figure out what you're going to do with it. That's what I would say. What's helped me.
To piggyback off that, for me, it's all been about keeping a healthy attitude, always believing in myself. I'm an entrepreneur. I have some other ventures going on, and I believe in myself and my capabilities. So it's really about us having a healthy attitude, believing in yourself. Seek out mentors if you can, if you know people. Relationships are golden in the industry, of course, like has already been mentioned. So those things, but I think Neff, hit it on the mark with what he said too.
Yeah, thank you both. That was really good advice. Hopefully they'll run a clip of that on our Instagram after the show, because I think a lot of people could benefit off hearing that.
All right.
So now let's talk about BeatStars. Why did you guys start using BeatStars?
Okay, I guess I'll go. We can go back. We can go back and forth now.
All right, let's go back and forth.
Yeah. All right. So BeatStars. I used some other ones. Track Train. Let's see. I can't think of any of the other ones right now. But BeatStars seem to have the most features that I was looking for. It was easy to find new beats to kind of compare to, and I like also the advertising promotion features. There'll be some things to make it better, but it's a good start for what's there. And just it was the ease of putting your music up. I think that was big as well. So that's why I stick with BeatStars. I have a site and everything. So.
So for me, it was like I actually had started BeatStars a little bit. Like when I was in New Hampshire, I was living in Manchester, New Hampshire, and it was the internet. Like I was doing a whole bunch of stuff with local cats. Like I was that dude or whatever in town. But then I was like, all right, let's figure out the internet. So I was doing like tutorial videos and BeatStars, trying to make trap beats and like get outside like my lane and just kind of explore. And I wasn't, I was getting some luck, but not really that much. And then I moved to New York, and I just like deleted everything. Like I just, again with the tabula rasa, like I just started fresh. I used to have a different name before. Then I rebranded about a year in, and then slowly started working with artists, this and that. And I was like, you know what, BeatStars was dope. Maybe I should try it. And me and Static actually got on BeatStars about the same time. And shout out to Dream Life. Dream Life gave me a bunch of insight on certain things to do with BeatStars. Shout out Mike Trampy. Same with him, and just kind of walked me through it. And I was like, you know what, I want to do things the right way this time. Got better graphics on it, started promoting it better, started learning like Facebook and algorithms, and it's definitely been very helpful. What I mean? When someone hits me up in the DMs, like I can, it's a lot easier to be like, boom, here you go. Here's the link. Check out all these beats. And then they can just kind of do it on their own pace, pick beats on their own pace. And it's it's just great. It's, there's a community here. Like right now, this is proof that it's a true community. We're trying to empower other producers, and there's going to be a bunch more shows. There have been a bunch more shows. BeatStars has really like taken it to the next level with all the shows, different opportunities with, the publishing. And it's like, there's no one else can even like compare to what's going on. There's really no other way. So, it's really a no-brainer for me.
Well, we're always happy to hear that. And very happy to have you guys a part of our community. you might have kind of answered this already in your responses to the last question, but how has BeatStars kind of helped shape your career as a producer? Fury, you go first.
I went first last time.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because Neff just went.
Okay, because I talk way too much.
No, I don't know. I'm just trying to make
Okay,
it
I'll talk real slow so it takes a long time to go. I'm just kidding. The question was, how has BeatStars helped my career?
help shape your career as a producer.
Well, I like all the tools. I mean, there's the distribution. I just recently signed up for the distribution part. So there's that. I have that and DistroKid, but I like that a little better because it seems to be like the user interface is better to me. So the distribution, the publishing, you can get the SoundCloud revenue monetization. I've used that in the past, but I'm not using that right now, but I probably should do that again. And then just this whole publishing deal thing is big because not only is it the publishing admin and publishing aspects, but I think it's going to open up some networking opportunities in the future. So that's how it's been instrumental for me. Yeah.
So for me, I feel like I don't take advantage of all the SoundCloud monetization. I haven't done that. But like for me, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely like shaping your career. That's a hard one. It's actually a good question because it's like, we kind of shape our careers. So how does this tool shape our careers? So like a big part is like signing with the publishing. Like that's huge for me. So like that part. Really actually, I learned a lot more about business. I've always really enjoyed the business side of things, like doing the office work, not even just making beats. But it's helped me expand that. I never knew what a Facebook pixel was until, working stuff with BeatStars and getting information from the BeatStars team. And work it, a big thing too is like, for me, like I was selling exclusives mostly. Like I was doing the whole DM thing. And I still do that, you know what I mean? It's like a little bit of both, you know what I mean? So it's because that's just always gonna happen. People are gonna hit you up and they're gonna want to skip that or whatever. But like for me, it's made it so I can work with way more artists. So like now I can work with artists that can't afford my exclusives. You know what I mean? But they really do want to actually pay something. They're not just gonna rip a beat off of YouTube. Like they actually, I was sought after by them, but they're just not at that level yet. You know what I mean? So that I think right there has been really dope. The other stuff too, like I mentioned and what Fury mentioned, there's just all the different things that you can utilize, and then what I learned from it, and then like I've been able to work with a bunch more artists now.
Yeah, all that was straight facts.
Straight facts, dog.
Why did you guys want to sign a publishing deal with us? Fury?
Okay, I'll go. Okay.
I tried.
All right. So, well, BeatStars by itself is definitely, I've said this before, it's definitely a big name in the industry with the online marketplace and everything. Then you couple that with Sony, I mean, it's almost like a no-brainer. Sony ATV, it's going to naturally, you feel it's going to open up more opportunities. So for me, it was an easy decision. There wasn't a lot of pondering. Of course, I read, all the, all the fine line and everything. But other than that, it was an easy decision for me.
Okay.
For me, I mean, definitely what Fury just mentioned. It was like, so I started seeing people getting signed like right away, and I was like, man, what's going on? I want to this looks dope. And then I learned more about what was really going on, and I hit up some people on the BeatStars team, and I was like, yo, what's up? Let's do this. Come on. And we started, and it was like, man, like shout out Mike, shout out Greg, like super dope. They've been great the whole time. Always answering my dumb questions. And but yeah, like for me, it was like it was like something that was placed on my chessboard. I always talk about playing chess. Like, you know, I told you like the first year it was like I was just like watching someone play chess. And the second year it was like, all right, let's put all the pawns out. And then the third year was like, all right, let's actually play. And now like this year it was like, let's do this. Like, let's put out my album, let's do this. And it was like, for me, it was a no-brainer. Like, yo, I'm about to drop a ton of music and a ton of content. To have something as legit as this opportunity right now, like I have to do this. This is perfect. I want to cross, dot every I, cross every T. And then I even was able to get on a call from someone with BMI, and they helped explain. So it's like a lot of stuff that I didn't know, and then just having like my shoulders were up here, like, oh my God, I'm gonna have like 33 artists. Like, this is gonna be crazy, and now I'm able just to be like, I have a support system right now.
Yeah.
So that was big for me.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite part of it too. It's just, I mean, on our end, I think it's just great being able to actually connect with you guys. Obviously, we have so many people now signing up, which is like the most amazing thing ever. We can't have that connection with everyone, but even just doing these shows, the publishing highlights, just learning more and more about the different producers on our roster, I think is awesome and very unique from other publishing deals. So definitely agree with you guys on all of that. This question's a little different. More about your goals. What are your goals for your career? It could be an artist or a producer that you want to work with, the amount of streams you want to hit. In terms of that, what are they?
Okay, I'll go.
I mean, I was like, it's gonna happen, right?
For me, I mean, honestly, it started out as a hobby, but as the more I did it and fell in love with the whole process of beat making production, the more I got serious about it. So really just continuing to progress in my career, working with notable artists and up and coming artists. I don't want to, filter them out, because you never know who the next big name is going to be. The little guy is just as important as the big guy to me. So that's, continuing to work and build relationships. I think that's the biggest thing, not just networking, because anybody can network, but building solid relationships is what I'm really after.
Awesome.
Man, like, I want to say the sky is the limit, but like, I want to go way past that. Like, goals for career, I guess the best way to answer that is like to leave the biggest legacy I possibly can. Like, I want not just my name, Neff, as an artist, but like I want like my last name to be prominent. Like, I want my kids to be good. I want their kids to be good. Hopefully I can go as far as I possibly can. And for me, my purpose in life is to create music so people can escape their monotonous life. So I create music so that people can heal. So I want to be able to touch as many people in this world as I possibly can. So really, it's not just about the legacy that I mentioned and everything. It's beyond that. It's just going as far as I can to help the world and to help my family. So that's really, I guess, yeah, because I could name all these artists, but like, and I have artists in mind, but like, there's gonna be a bigger artist that I'm gonna want to work with down the road.
Yeah, those were both great answers. I think it's always interesting to hear people's goals, because it could be a goal for tomorrow or a goal for a lifetime. Can
I add to that? Neff said something that sparked an idea I had, a few weeks ago. And I was telling someone I want to eventually have like a building named after me, So that would be huge, you'd be living forever if you had a building named after you,
Yeah. So actually now I have to
keep going. I love it.
Yeah. So so actually the building's not I didn't have a thought about that. I always thought about a statue out front of a building that I don't know why I didn't think about building. Why not? But so for me, like, I have that purpose in life. Like, that's what I wake up to. That's my purpose in life. But a big thing is like my secondary or first, I don't know. Because I got sober a month before I turned 18. Like, to not go too far into it, but like I was supposed to do a lot of prison time, and like it was a very, very dark place. Like, the last drink I ever took was I ended up in a car on fire, knocked out, and finally waking up and crawling out of it. So like that's just paints a little picture. So like for me is like youth is everything. Like the high school ages and the middle school ages is everything to me. When I first got sober, my passion was that. So like the group home I was supposed to go to when I was 13, 14 years old, I started the very first AA meeting there. And I would bring in other kids that got sober young. And I created an organization called Youth Helping Youth within an AA committee. And we would go, and I would bring speakers, and I would go speak at like colleges, high schools, all sorts of stuff like that. So my big goal with like what you said about the building is to, once I'm cooling down from all the hip hop stuff, I'm a little older, and it's like, what's my next venture? Or maybe before that. And I have some more, I kind of have the clout and the people with me that have, the power to do it, is to create a youth center where, there's poetry, there's hip hop classes, there's writing classes, DJ classes, there's going to be a basketball court. I mean, everything that kids actually want to do, not just a normal rec center, but there's going to be that. And then there'll also be counseling with, people in their early 20s, early 30s that you would actually open up to, not, Joe Schmo, counselor at the school that you're afraid to talk to. So that's my biggest thing kind of in life.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing and a beautiful goal. Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm sure a lot of people watching right now can relate or have seen that or have similar reasons why they're doing this and with their goals. So thank you for being so vulnerable with us today. Next, we're going to play your beats. So I'm going to start with Fury. I'm going to share the screen. If there's a particular beat from your playlist that you would like me to play, then just let me know.
Is It Right is the most recent beat, so I guess you can start there.
Okay, play that one. I think I'm going to play 2 from each of your playlist.
That's fine. Is It Right and Tomorrow Comes Again.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right. Just go on mute while I'm playing them, just so the sound is better.
Okay.
All right. First up, we have Is It Right?
Purchase this beat at furybeatsmusic.com. Purchase this beat at furybeatsmusic.com.
All right. So tell us about that beat. Are there any stories behind it? Any inspo? What was it like making it? All that. Oh, wait. You got to go off mute.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries.
I was about to say, well, when I first start with a beat, I almost always start with the melody. When I first started out, I kind of went back and forth between drums to melody, but to be consistent, I now start with the melody most of the time. And then I just go with what comes to me, you know, naturally. It's just a natural process for me. I usually don't have any. It's almost like doodling for me when it comes to creating music. It's like I start with something. I say, okay, this sounds right here. This sounds right there. And you know, I usually make stuff, you know, pretty quickly these days. I mean, I've been doing it for 7 years, so.
Yeah, I like that analogy. Kind of, it's like doodling because it is. That's really how it comes together. Cloud9 said his head started bobbing instantly. So did mine.
That's what's up.
All right. So the next one you wanted was Tomorrow Comes Again?
Yes.
All right. Here we go.
Purchase this beat at furybeatsmusic.com. Purchase this beat at furybeatsmusic.com.
All right. Tell us about this one. A lot of different instruments involved.
All right. I remember to take myself off mute this time. All right. Again, same process. Actually, those last 2 beats are my last 2 beats that I created. So I wanted to at least highlight the last. And excuse me. I don't use just FL Studio. I also use Machina MK3 to make some of my melodies now, which actually sound better and more unique than just borrowing sounds from whatever. So yeah, I'm able to make a lot better sounds with the Machina, just by the way, so that's a plug for them. But yeah, I started with the melody there and just kind of made the beat from that.
All right, awesome. I'll add these to a couple playlists.
Fire.
All right.
Kendrick. I've never hosted this show before, so I don't know if they do this, but I want to do that. So
Do it.
I'm just doing it.
That's what's up. Yeah.
All right, Neff, you are up. I think
Word.
screen. 1 sec. Share screen. Content. All right. And which 2 beats did you want me to play?
Oh man, I don't even know what. I can't even remember what they sound like. I'm gonna say Indoors 122 and Indoors 29. Just guessing.
Okay, here we go.
BeatStars.com.
All right, tell us about that beat, how it was made, the inspo.
Oh man. So I don't really remember exactly making that beat, but so any beat that you see that says like on my page, anyone that goes on my page, it says live, upstate, or indoors. That was all during the New York City lockdown.
Okay.
So that was like what was it, like 2.5 months or something that
Mhm.
nobody really left their house. And I just went crazy. Like I made like 300 beats in that amount of time. I would just get up, live stream on, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. So anything that says live, like I made it live. The indoors was just like me making beats in the crib, and I would just wake up and do that. But it's pretty much the same thing what Fury said. Like, but for me, like most of mine is sample. It's either a regular sample or a sample that another producer made, and like I listen to that. I hear the beat made. I pick the sample, I chop it up, and I just kind of go on, like I black out and go on a journey with the sample, and I listen to what it's telling me to do, pretty much.
So, but if you had to think now, what do you think the inspo was behind this beat?
That one, really, it's kind of a sad beat to me. It's something that's like really makes you think like that. Like that's something that doesn't even need lyrics really, because it's just like it's this beat that takes you on a journey. And it's like, for a lot of the inspiration for those beats, my girl was pregnant during that time. We just our baby's 6 months, and like at that point in time, it was like that like dad instinct, like I gotta make the best beats I possibly can. So like every beat that I was doing during that lockdown, I was like, this needs to be like something that I can place. You know what I mean? So like for me, it was like I could imagine J. Cole on that, or I could imagine someone from Pro Era on that beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your baby.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, as you can see, it's like, oh wait,
Evidence.
evidence. There's more. I cleaned it up. It's only a lot more pink. She loves chilling in here when I make beats, and she got her own noise canceling headphones, and now she wants to touch everything when I'm making beats. So, yeah, it's pretty dope.
So cute. All right, this is Indoors 29.
BeatStars.com. BeatStars.com.
All right, tell us about this one.
So this one, again, I was in such a vibe. It was like one of my most creative points in my life, I think, so far. But like that one, like I don't know if anyone could hear like the bass. I have my headphones on, so it's easier. But like that bass was kind of like that late, almost like Mad Lib, like a fake Mad Lib Dilla type of bass line, like instead of like a more natural guitar type of bass. So it was like, when I made this playlist, I think there's like only one kind of like lo-fi grimy joint on there. For the most of them, it was more my soulful, vibes, J. Cole type of stuff. Because that's just kind of what I'm on these days. So yeah, it was like kind of, I was really just trying to like influence both worlds, like influence the new like J. Cole style, but like keep like that Mad Lib, like that hard hitting bass, and it was a super mellow beat, but I found this hi-hat loop. Someone was like, "Oh, those hi-hats are crazy." Found this hi-hat loop, and then I like just chopped it, put it on the grid, like did my own thing with it because that beat's kind of slow, but I wanted to add some energy. It's not like a double time beat, but it's slow enough where if it was just that like type of hi-hats, it would have been boring. So that's kind of really what I was going for in that point.
That's dope. I'm gonna add it to the J. Cole playlist.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. All right. Well, thank you guys. I'm glad we got to listen to a couple of your beats. That was awesome. And my last question for today is, I mean, what is your advice to anyone watching right now who's a producer or anyone who wants to be a producer?
My advice would be to never give up on yourself. Just go for it. Just do it, like Nike says. Be about that action. You know, don't let anyone doubt. Don't let anyone cause you to doubt yourself. Basically.
For me, it's like always become better. Like I thought I was dope, and then like I put myself around people that were really doing what I wanted to do, and it was like I found out I wasn't that dope. You know what I mean? Comparatively. So it's like always try to become better. Never think that you're the hot shit. So like with that takes a lot of work. So like don't jump the gun right away. Don't start charging for beats right off the rip. Put yourself around people that like won't yes you to death or like that are like super just your friends, because you need to be around people that are going to tell you the truth.
Amen.
So I would that was the biggest thing. Like when I found out, well, not when I found out, but like when I heard like the, you know, this isn't right. Like boom, people were hard on me about beats. Like I took that really hard, and like what I said about fear, like I use that every day. And now like I'm not gonna say what people, you know, people think my beats are pretty cool. Let's just say that. Some hip hop legends have told me some really amazing things. So, you know, I think just focusing on your craft is really big, and there's a lot of information out there to be able to do that.
Well, thank you guys. That was great advice. And before we go, at the end, I'm going to have you guys plug yourself, tell everyone where they can find you. But before that, please don't forget that there's another episode of the Inside Track up on our YouTube at BeatStars. And this Friday, we're having a beat feedback and opportunity show with a bunch of Sony Music Publishing A&Rs worldwide. So it's a really good opportunity to get your beats heard and get some incredible advice from a lot of people who have been in this game for a very long time and have great experience and great knowledge to give out. All right. So thank you, Fury and Neff, for coming.
Thank you so much for having us.
Of course. And where can everyone find you? BeatStars, Instagram, Twitter.
Fairy Beats 1, the number 1. So that's where I'm at. I'm easily found on IG, but also on BeatStars, same name.
All right.
So for me, it's produced by, like, not just PROD, just produced by Neff, NEF, on everything imaginable. Again, Instagram is really the hub. You know, there was a lot of people, like, I don't want to answer all, you know, the stuff on the chat or whatever, but like anyone that had questions or like anything like that, or just wants to chop it up, like you can always DM me. I read my DMs.
Same here.
Yeah. DM us, just like we're regular people. We'll talk to you.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely reach out to them, guys, if you had any questions during the show or need any more advice. Obviously, you guys are great. I think this is one of my favorite interviews or live shows I've done so far. So thank you, guys. You made it very easy for me.
It's Liddy.
Can't wait to see what you guys put out in the future. And just thank you so much for coming on today. We really appreciate it.
And thank you so much, Cammy.
Yeah.
Of course. All right. Peace out, and everyone have a great day. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.